What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Footy Fetish. We're now on episode.
Well, this is going to get confusing because this one's going to come out before the one previously. So I think this is episode 19.
So this is.
Well,
don't worry about it.
It's going to be a special.
Super League special. Hashtag
is-
Super League special.
This is just an episode of the Footy Fetish. We don't know which one, but it's a special, an ESL special, because obviously the last 48 hours or 56 hours, whatever it is, has been pretty nuts.
Yeah.
Some very rich men have tried to ruin football, boys. We stopped
them. Yeah, stop them in their tracks.
Us four, specifically.
Yeah, exactly.
Single-handedly.
Podcast.
Jurgen wasn't happy. We had a bit of a late night call, so
nice.
I dealt with it though.
Nice. So for anyone watching that doesn't know, I'll just quickly run through essentially what the ESL was. So there was 12 teams involved, 6 from the Premier League, which was Chelsea, Arsenal, Liverpool, Spurs, United, and City. Then you had 3 from the Serie A, AC Milan, Inter Milan, and Juventus. Then you had 3 from the La Liga, Barcelona, Atletico Madrid, and Real Madrid. Now, essentially what this was a European Super League is essentially what it is. It was a team with these 15 teams were going to be in a league on their own, where none of them could be relegated. There were going to be 5 spots for teams that could come up, and depending on how they did on the season prior to that one. But yeah, essentially it was for money purposes to make them rich. Essentially, is what this was.
Well,
have I missed anything else you can say for a summary?
Well, there's obviously loads going on with this. Oh, nice Trim H. We had a comment from Shed Gaming is live in with us. Nice Trim H. But there was obviously where these founding members just couldn't be relegated, or they couldn't lose.
Guaranteed. And also they were going to be split. It was backed by JP Morgan, and they were going to be splitting a 3.5 billion infrastructure grant upon signing the contract to join the Super League. It was around 300 million each.
Jesus.
Bear in mind, you only make about 150 million in the Premier League.
Yeah. Now, obviously, loads of shit's been going on, but yeah, it was just crazy. Like, obviously, you've got the UK government getting involved. Boris saying that he condemned it, and let me find it here. What else did he say? He said that he was prepared to drop a legislative bomb on the ESL. Which basically meant he was going to refuse to grant governing bodies endorsements, which basically meant that he wasn't going to give any work permits to players that were playing for or wanting to join a team in the ESL. So basically, they're giving the teams in the ESL a transfer ban.
Wow. Which
is crazy. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I also heard things about they were going to stop people from you couldn't join an ESL team, regardless of where you were coming from. If you were a part of an ESL team, you then couldn't also basically leave. So yeah, a bit like you said, obviously like a transfer ban, but a permanent one.
Yeah.
Now so they'd just be stuck there forever. These players.
On top of that,
contract runs out, I guess.
Exactly. Yeah. And then on top of that, they had UEFA. And their president, Alexander Seferin, come out and condemn the ESL and said teams would be expelled from all international games, the Champions League. Obviously, the Premier League then came out and said that they wouldn't be. Well, I think they did say they wouldn't be part of the Premier League anymore. Am I right?
Yeah.
All this kind of stuff.
If you were part of the European Super League, you could not take part in anything, whether that be like League Cups or the Premier League, international duty. You could only basically play in the European Super League.
Yeah. And quite funny is how personal this got, because of I think is it Serafin and Agnelli are very close friends, right?
Yeah, and one of them's the other's godfather for their daughter or something. Yeah.
And basically, so what I think Serafin had a phone call with Agnelli on Saturday, and Agnelli, who is the chairman of or the owner of Juventus. Agnelli said they were happy with the Champions League and how things were going. And then obviously this week is then come out with the ESL and that they're leaving. So they've literally lost, this gone personal, they've literally lost the friendships over this. And godfathers and shit like that. It's like a fucking, like the Real Housewives of international football.
I love it though.
But then obviously you had like teams were going. Obviously Perez was going to be heading it as Florentino Perez, obviously the chairman for Real Madrid, was going to be the president of the ESL. You had Stan Kroenke was going to be quite high up there. All John Henry and all that. Obviously, you two can speak a bit more about that, having being them two being the owners of your teams. Yeah, it was. I even went to the part where the European SLT Super League teams left the European Club Association, which Ed Woodward and someone else are very high up in. They've done that, so they can't go. I don't know if they can go back or not because they've already left.
There's probably an application process.
Yeah. Obviously, we had PSG, Dortmund, and Bayern all rejected the offers of Porto and someone else as well. I can't remember who it was.
I'm not 100% convinced about PSG. I think they wanted to see how the initial reaction was before they fully committed, because
they're more politically savvy than the rest of the teams in this.
Basically. But there's also two unnamed French teams that were heavily involved but hadn't publicly come out and obviously signed up yet.
Assuming Marseille would have been one.
Yeah, well, there's only a handful that it could have been, really. One of them is
Lyon.
PSG.
Lyon, I reckon.
One of them has to be PSG, that's the thing.
I think Lille top of the French league.
They are currently, yeah. But if you're going historically wise, it would probably be like
Lyon,
or,
yeah.
But
maybe Saint Etienne.
One thing that really made me laugh about the whole Dortmund, Bayern, and PSG rejecting it is that Perez came out and said that they weren't invited, and then a document leaked of the contract with all of their invitations in the contract. He's like,
you cannot have a Super League without Bayern Munich. You just cannot.
No, you can't.
It's absurd. I mean, they've got not only have they got the history of being in competition, winning the competition, but they're still like one of the best teams, and they always have been. It's ludicrous.
I mean, it's arrogant, is what it is.
Yeah.
Massive.
Sure. Well, it's just they wanted money. So, like we were saying a bit earlier, we were chatting before we went streaming. Different teams had their different reasons, right? Real Madrid had their reasons because they have racked up a huge bill and they are seriously in debt at the moment.
As
like 400 million in debt. Barcelona
700 something million.
Exactly, right? So, and you got, like we were saying, Arsenal, Spurs, like Milan, these kind of teams wanted to get in there because they aren't competent enough to get there on merit. They have to, they need to have that safety of not being relegated or anything like that. And they're worried about more competent teams like Leicester and West Ham, who are coming through, who could be a big team. They don't care. Chelsea don't care if Arsenal are big. Chelsea don't care, or Man United don't care if Chelsea are big. What they do care about is if West Ham or Leicester sneak in there and upset the apple cart. That's what they want. They don't want to be sharing more money. They don't want any of this. They don't want to lose out in Champions League or Europa League. It's fucked, man. The whole thing is fucked, and I'm so happy that we got out of it. But for now, we'll see. Apparently, there's still teams in there, but who knows?
But, I mean, there's still some dodgy things they've managed to sneak into new Champions League format.
I also do want to say, like before like everyone talks about UEFA and the Premier League and FIFA and that, they aren't good guys either.
No,
let's get that out of the way.
It is saying something
100%.
that how they look like they're on the moral high ground. It speaks volumes that FIFA, UEFA are on the moral high ground here, which is weird to say.
Well, yeah, like it's one of those films where a good guy has to team up with a smaller bad guy to beat a bigger bad guy because they can't do it on their own. That's like after this, we really need to be pushing UEFA and FIFA and stuff to make changes to make the game more fair for everyone involved. We can't just stop here. We can't just think UEFA are heroes right now because they're really, really not. They've had problems for years, so just want to clear that up.
One thing that I was very happy to sort of see is that Ian Wright put something on Instagram this morning. He's been doing this couple of little IGTV sort of things over the last couple of days, and he basically said this morning. He said obviously he's very, very happy about what's happened and how quickly they've managed to get over it. But this sort of shows that how big of a contribution money is. Because if money wasn't involved, what would this have happened? Like, would this turnaround have happened so quickly? And why can't, if this sort of thing can happen and cause such uproar within the whole footballing world, why doesn't it happen with racism within football?
Yeah. But so I was seeing Andros Townsend posted something similar, saying like, you see these bans coming for players not to play internationally, and I was like, why can't we do that for racism?
Yeah.
If you can ban players, why can't we ban them?
that all of that happens within I think after these clubs announced that they were going to be obviously their intent to join the Super League, within 15-20 minutes, I think most of the like UEFA and FIFA and stuff, they'd also then put out another statement saying that they're going to be every single club's going to be fined, every club participating is going to be fined for between 50 to 60 billion euros.
Mad. Yeah,
and that's you can't function being sued that much. None of those clubs have that money.
That's bankruptcy immediately.
Oh yeah, of course.
I mean,
none of those clubs have that money, like at all.
The thing is, they do like these teams need to be punished. I know, obviously, it's hard for you two, obviously, fans of two of these teams that are in this situation, but they have to be punished in some way. There has to be a points deduction. There has to be a fine. There has to be a transfer embargo. There has to be something done, because otherwise, it's just going to happen again. It's going to happen again in 10 years' time.
I think points deducted is a bit unfair on the teams because the teams weren't. From what my reaction was, Jurgen Klopp apparently didn't know until
it's unfair on the players. It's unfair on the team when Berry went under.
Yeah,
but that was the same thing. Incompetent management. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it will be unfair on the players, the fans, and the team. It will be, because the owners that you have in place are a disgrace and try to destroy football.
Literally.
So, unfortunately, they're going to have to be people that don't deserve it are going to feel something, because it has to happen to stop it from happening again. It has to. Like when Leeds went down, people lost jobs, all this kind of stuff. Do you know what I mean? Because of incompetent stuff. Like, it happens.
When coronavirus happened, Arsenal had to make 55 of their staff redundant. And then you've got Stan Kroenke talking about billions and billions of pounds on Zoom calls with all these other like European Super League teams. It's horrible, and it's such a kick in the nuts for some of these, for the staff and for all these other teams as well, and all these. The amount of people that you kind of think 12 teams joining a Super League, that's not going to have that much impact on the rest of the footballing world. It has such a massive impact, and I think they just didn't take everything into consideration. And obviously, when it comes to money is king, cash is king.
That's it. I don't know if you saw Perez go on that tin pot Spanish television show.
Yeah.
With that soft journalist who just gave him absolute layup questions. But he said he said that without the ESL, football would be dead by 2024, and that 16 to 24-year-olds aren't interested in football, and the games need to be shorter. He wanted to make games shorter.
Why?
Well, I mean, we'd have 10-minute halves with 45 minutes in the middle for adverts.
There's already large periods of games where very little happens.
Yeah.
We don't need to give even less time for something to happen.
Yeah, it's a bit mad. And then I don't know, it just all went a bit mad. Obviously, then you had like the more players come out about it. Obviously, Jurgen Klopp spoke before his before the game against Leeds. James Milner spoke afterwards, doubling down on what Jurgen had said. Which is great. And then obviously you had Pep come out to talk about it. You had all these different players come out. It started to Jordan Henderson. Obviously he organised a captain's meeting.
Yeah.
With the teams involved, and they got it. I've heard that Maguire was quite a big voice in the Manchester dressing room to Ed Woodward directly about the situation.
Yeah.
Wow.
Which is great to see.
Annoyingly, I was thinking at first, why am I not hearing anything about Aubameyang being involved? But obviously he's still recovering from malaria or whatever he got when he was on international duty, and he's been in and out of hospital, so I can more understand from that side of things. But he's still been putting stuff on social media about it, which I can obviously appreciate, but he's not been as vocal as some of these other teams, which I was really kind of annoyed about at first. And then obviously you kind of think about the deeper story behind it, and it's a bit more understandable. But
I would have been interested to see, like, sorry to interrupt. Like, if it did go through and this league did happen, how many players actually stuck to their word and refused to play in that league? Because I don't think it would be that many at all. I think
wouldn't.
Most of them would.
Not when they see
even without the international games and stuff.
Yeah, not when they see their paychecks that are going to come through. They wouldn't.
I believe Henderson would refuse, and I believe Milner would refuse, but the rest of them I can't be sure.
That's the thing. If you're earning double the amount that you're earning just from the Premier League alone, you're going to be pushing your team to be paying you more, and you're going to get something back from it. So yeah, I can understand what you mean.
It was good to see, obviously, Gary Neville and Joey Carragher and Steve Parish, bloody hell, talking about it on Monday Night Football. I think they all gave pretty good speeches, I suppose you could say, on the whole thing. It was quite interesting from Steve Parish saying about like how these owners, like, this is what is just drawing everyone's attention to it, but they've actually been doing this for years, like sneakily putting in little clauses, making changes that you don't really read about because they're coming in the years ahead. They're not right now. And he said that like this disparity has been like between them teams and the rest of the teams, the rest of the 14 teams is big, and it has been big for ages. Do you know what I mean? And like this is just sort of the straw that broke the camel's back, or whatever they say. This one.
One thing that I do have to say though is, as much as I'm not really his biggest fan, fair play to Gary Neville. Gary Neville was a proper driving force behind the fan. Everyone kicking off about it. He was one of the first people to speak up about it live on TV as well. Obviously, players like Jamie Carragher obviously got involved as well. But yeah, he was a big player in sort of getting everyone rallied up and getting people pissed off to clearly show these team owners and everything what they're actually doing and what the consequences will be if they go through with this. So yeah,
he's got a unique angle of being a lifelong like proper football fan of one of these clubs, like a legendary well-known player and the owner of a Football League pyramid club.
Yep.
So he one of the few people who understands from all angles, and he perfectly summarised how the public were feeling about it.
Definitely.
I quite like to see him, if they are going to bring in like a regulatory, whatever it is, you know, a body to make sure that nothing's going wrong. You know, these owners are doing their due diligence and all that. It'd be quite cool to see Gary Neville involved in that.
Yeah,
I think he can definitely be impartial. We've seen him critique Man United over the years, and you've seen him sing praises about Liverpool. So we know he can be impartial in this kind of thing, and I think he would do a great job.
Definitely.
But I mean, I know that there's a meeting either taking place today or tomorrow with the 14 Premier League teams, the rest of them. And what I've been reading on The Athletic and Sky Sports is that they are heavily pushing for punishments for all the teams, which is what we said earlier. It's like fair enough. And that also they are pushing for executives and people higher up at these teams to be sacked and to have fresh faces come in because they don't want anyone tied to this going forward. Which I think is completely fair enough.
I'd get behind that 100%.
I think Minoli
to get rid of Kroenke right now.
I think Minoli
I've said for a little while now that I hate him. For at least 2 or 3 years, I've said I absolutely hate this guy, and this is just final nail in the coffin for me. He's just the worst human being in the world. I fucking hate him.
That's the thing. So I don't actually know any Arsenal fans that like him, and. The Athletic reported, I was reading an article with The Athletic, they reported that Arsenal were actually at the centre of this more than it was reported or people know about.
Probably.
Due to Stan Kroenke.
It was like one of the vice chairman of the Super League.
It's
but
just
you look at the type of guy he is, I'm not surprised at all.
Nah,
he owns two American sports teams.
Yeah, he owns the Denver Nuggets. Someone else, I can't remember who, but yeah, he obviously puts a hell of a lot of money into those organisations and nothing into Arsenal.
He owns the Rams, doesn't he?
That's it, yeah. The
LA Rams. I mean, look at that. Look at that. He got hold of the Rams and he took it from St. Louis to LA.
Big money.
Like, I mean, it's probably a good move, to be fair, St. Louis or LA, to be fair to him.
They were LA before they went to St. Louis.
Harry, we want this to fit our narrative. But no, that's probably a good point.
He's putting obviously so much money into these other clubs, but he's showing very little to no support for Arsenal, and he hasn't for a long, long time. And
Which of the three is the biggest global brand as well?
Oh yeah, definitely, 100%. There's no question about it. It's
the one he can make money off of, to be fair.
Yeah, definitely. But he's just a joke of a human being. I've hated him for a long time. His son's heavily involved with the club as well. He's got I think a non-executive role in the sort of the senior management. But just hate him with a passion. Get out of the club.
It would be good to see obviously we've seen Ed Woodward go already. It would be good to see the Glazers get out of Manchester. It'd be good to see FSG get out of Liverpool. LeBron, you can't come here and ruin football. No matter how much. I'm only joking. No
Let's stick him up top.
Yeah. It'd be interesting. Abramovich, that's a big one because I don't think Chelsea fans are going to want to get rid of Abramovich.
Nobody's pumping money in.
Apparently, Abramovich has been one of the main forces trying to obviously get out of the Super League, and all that sort of stuff. And apparently, he was very much. Well, a lot of these owners were blindsided. I don't know how much that's true. Some of them definitely more than others. I think the ones that like Kroenke and Perez and stuff, they were definitely not really blindsided. They were some of the driving forces behind getting it actually
the Glazers
the whole thing off. But some of the other teams that weren't as their owners weren't as involved with the hierarchy of the Super League. I think they were probably lied to and I think a bit blindsided. But
because Abramovich and Sheikh Mansour don't need the Super League.
Well, not at all.
Like money-wise, they just don't need it. Obviously, it'd be nice, but they just don't need it. So I think there was obviously there's been talks that was just a more of a fact of them just missing out rather than wanting to be in it for those reasons. Still not a good reason. Do you know what I mean? You still went and did it. Do you know what I mean? You didn't have the balls to not go and do it like Bayern, Dortmund, and PSG. Although PSG, I don't want to give too much credit to.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's a bit mad, man. To be honest. Ed Woodward stepping down. Manchester United fans must be absolutely thrilled.
Oh, definitely. Well, he's not stepping down to the end of 2021, but he is at least stepping down.
Going to not be there at some point, which is nice. A nice light at the end of the tunnel for United fans. But now it's just the Glazers. Obviously, there's still that overlooming problem of them lot.
They've obviously sent a post to the group chat earlier on Instagram about their apology letter. I haven't read through all of it because it's kind of a bit.
Don't get me started on apologies.
It's just very generic and just a bit bullshit, really. But if you look at all the comments underneath, they're just going in on the Glazers. It's ridiculous. People are like, "Oh, shut up!" Like, no one believes you. No one's reading this. Basically, just going off on one, and no one believes what they're saying. And you're going to have to do a lot now to get people's trust back. And it's about actions and not just words.
That's
at the moment. We need to see the changes. We need to physically be able to know what's happening instead of just going, "Oh yeah, my bad. Turns out it wasn't a great idea. You guys didn't like it. Sorry." That's it.
It's the timing of it as well. Obviously, COVID. It being the working man's game, and they're trying to take advantage of the working man.
Like 6 days for the end of the season.
Yeah. And I mean, Dan Levy, man, he sacked Jose because he was like, right, all the money that is sacked Jose, I'm just going to recoup that back straight from the ESL. We'll get another big manager. Now he's down. He's not got the ESL. He's not got a manager. He's got a cup final in a week's time or less than a week's time.
He's got Ryan Mason taking charge.
He's got Ryan Mason as the head coach of Tottenham right now. Big respect to Ryan Mason. Obviously, it's a shame what happened to him in his playing career. But Jesus Christ, Jesus Christ,
really bad position.
It's a tough job, but he is not going to receive a single bit of blame for anything that happened.
No, at all. But he's going to receive a lot of banter.
It is a bit of a
he can deal with it
for him, because if he wins the game, he's going to be sort of lauded as what a great guy or whatever. If he loses, they're going to go, well, he's just lost his first game against Pep in the final when all of this has just happened. You can't blame.
They could lose 8-0 and people would be like, "Oh yeah, unlucky mate."
Hendry's commented Kroenke out.
Yes, Hendry.
Fair enough.
So how would you guys, to the Arsenal, to Ollie and Mark, how would you guys feel about, say, hypothetically, you had a point deduction? Say you start next season with minus 30 points, 20 points.
Well, if they're going to do a point deduction, I'd rather they do it this season, because for both teams, it's pretty much is what it is.
The way they usually do it is it rolls on to the next season. So.
If it's 20 points, points for you this season, might send you down, Ollie.
Yeah. Because that is something that, I mean, if we're doing the right thing, that's what should happen, right? Obviously, we don't know what's going to happen. So
I understand. I wouldn't start kicking off saying it's a bad call, because an example needs to be set. But at the same time, I know for a fact that I say I know for a fact, like I fucking talk to them, but I have, you know, on all of my Instagram feeds, there's not been one moment where a player has agreed with it, or a player knew about this was going to happen, or Jurgen Klopp didn't know this was going to happen in such advance to make his own opinion. He found out sort of when we found out, all the players found out when we. So I personally think it would be quite unfair to punish the actual team, but I think you got to hit him where it hurts, and obviously that's their pockets. So I think a massive fine, massive
fine won't be big enough.
Yeah.
Fines
regardless of what happens,
they don't give a shit. More damaging to them is them starting.
This is my opinion. What I think will happen is a massive fine and threat of relegation. That's what I think will happen.
Fair point. You've made a good argument there. To be fair, hitting them where it hurts. I haven't thought about it like that.
Because
does it hurt?
I don't care. I don't think they'll.
Well, I mean, about a couple mil getting. He's a billionaire.
No,
that's
but
the thing.
That's true.
I think regardless.
Do they care about a few million? Because they're not going to fine them 10 million, 20 million pounds, are they? They're going to fine them a couple million at most, and these are billionaires we're talking about.
I agree that it should be like proper points deductions or relegations, or whatever.
Hendry said Mark might be right that City might not make the top 4 position.
Top 7, mate.
It's top 7 then. If they get hit with that,
imagine they end up 7.
The Prem then? Is it West?
That'll be hilarious.
Leicester will win the Prem, yeah. Leicester will win the Prem. We'll come 7th.
Well, West Ham could still catch him. To be fair,
yeah.
Very true.
But it's just a bit of a. It is a mad one, obviously. Like I think they should be punished, and I do completely understand where you're coming from. The team, the players, and like the manager shouldn't be punished. But unfortunately, as I said with Barry earlier. It happens the other way, so just because you're a big team doesn't mean it's not happening your way.
I think because you're a big team, you're going to receive harsher punishment, and I won't. Obviously, I'll be annoyed if Liverpool gets slapped with like minus 30 points, whatever. But at the same time, I'd be like, well, from what happened, they almost tore us from a domestic league. Like, what the fuck? So.
They tried to destroy
football. Yeah,
your club's history as well.
So I was like, fuck them. Like FSG, I don't really like the last 5 years. Whatever FSG has done to sort of try and really build a relationship with the fans, as much as they probably have tried, they've decided to just absolutely shit on it. We're not telling us what they wanted to do, just saying this is what we're going to do. Basically, disregards the fan base's opinion, even though the club. Probably every Liverpool fan feels, or every football fan feels, like a club isn't just sort of like watching a TV show. It is something you follow for your life, and it is something you really do care about. And it is like, I'm sure a lot of people find it weird when you go, oh yeah, when you say we in football, it's rather than saying, oh, Liverpool, you go, oh yeah, we this, we that, we feel that, because it is like your club.
Yeah.
It's like who you will support. I mean, it's rare, I guess, people.
Well, the football clubs are owned by the fans. It's just that these people are just coming in to run it.
Yeah.
Like that's.
I've just had a look, and if they hit them with 30-point deduction this season, that puts Arsenal 19th as it stands. It puts Spurs 18th.
Oh my god.
And it puts Liverpool 17th.
Oof.
But with games to play, that could still change.
Oh my god! Do it.
It would put City.
Do it.
If all the teams got punished, it would put City 5th.
Oh my god!
Oh my god!
Because of all the big six going down, they would be 5th. They would be behind Leicester, West Ham, Everton, and Leeds.
Who would they be above? Sorry, like who's?
So we'd be like, I think we'd be like 7th, 8th. If that was to happen, like the way it goes, because it'd be like us, Wolves, and Southampton just below them.
The thing is, you say obviously about
you would just be ahead of Man United, Alf.
The thing is, obviously, you say about
4 points off.
You don't want these like the players to sort of incur sort of any fines or any sort of repercussions from this, because it's not necessarily the players or the manager's fault, but.
It's none of that.
If they do get hit with the point deduction, which will obviously affect the players, then there's. If they don't get hit with the point deduction, then City will still win the league. And if they just get a financial penalty, it has to be pretty significant to have a big sort of impact on what like the amount of money they're going to win, what they're going to get from winning the Premier League in the first place. They're going to go, we'll fine each club 10 million or whatever, but we're also about to give you 55 million for winning, or however much it is for winning.
We'll just give you 45 million for winning, and we'll call it quits.
Yeah, exactly.
Essentially what they're going to say.
What they could do is fine them. Sorry, Mark, and fine them and say any and all rewards from league position this year you can't have.
Donate to the 14 other teams in the league.
Split the pay.
Yeah. So technically, you'll come top with 74, but the title will go to Leicester.
Oh.
No, I'd rather see.
And Champions League qualifications will go to the 4 highest other teams.
What I would genuinely love to see is this season just play out as normal. Whoever wins, wins. But next season, all the top 6 start with minus 30 points. That's what I would like to see.
That would be the ideal number, because then there would be enough where they could be relegated. That would be so sick to see.
Yeah.
Hendry's hit us with a question. How good would it be for West Ham, Leicester, Everton and Leeds to be in the Champions League?
Oh, I'd love it.
Money-wise, it would be dog shit. But for us as fans, it would be the best thing ever. I would love it.
Because if you think about it, that might happen to the other teams as well. So
I want Celta Vigo versus
the only big teams would be like Bayern and PSG.
Celta Vigo versus West Ham is the Champions League final next year. That's what it's going to be.
Oh, that'd be brilliant.
It'd be insane.
Going back to Jose quickly, sorry. Obviously, apparently one of the main reasons he was fired was because he refused to take the players onto the training ground to train because of this whole Super League. And it apparently caused an explosive row, which pretty promptly ended up in him being sacked. But like me and Alf were just discussing before the podcast, he's made nearly 80 million euros in compensation from being sacked across his career. 80 million euros in compensation.
8-0?
Yeah, 8-0.
Damn.
That is a lot. 15 million just from Tottenham alone. And then obviously however many other clubs he's been sacked by previous to that.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
I might just become a football manager. Just get sacked. Just keep getting hired, keep getting sacked.
Do it.
That's going to be my career. Not actually football, just getting sacked.
Hopefully he doesn't want that much money when he comes to Palace then.
I'll be your assistant manager if you want, Mark.
Alright, mate. That's the deal.
But yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting. What did you think of the John Henry apology video? Because I just never realised how ugly that man is until I watched that video.
And how American he sounded.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I was like,
it was very, very cheesy.
Although it felt sincere, it was just like, you didn't write it. I was like, I know you didn't write this apology, mate.
Reading it off a teleprompter.
Exactly, like a fucking robot. Jesus.
Reminded me of Logan Paul's apology video.
Yeah. But it is interesting. Like I think it's just a nice day that America's tried to do something. We've told them to fuck off, and they've had to fuck off.
Yeah.
They haven't managed to bully their way into doing what they wanted to, which is what they do in every
one of the posts I sent you guys yesterday about I wonder who's performing at the Super League halftime show. And it's just so much stuff like that I think that these American owners are trying to bring over to England to obviously make more money to try and bring more of an audience in. But quite frankly, I don't want to see Beyonce performing at a halftime at the Super League or any football show really. Maybe the Champions League, maybe. I think you had Dua Lipa a couple of years ago that performed at the Champions League final, but something like that's a little bit more understandable. That was pre-game, but something that's going to be a consistent thing going forward, like obviously the Super League was going to be. We don't want to see any of that stuff. That's very.
This was only the start as well. This was only the start. Like the Super League games wouldn't even end up being at the Emirates, or it would be Chelsea versus Real Madrid, or Man United, Real Madrid in New York, and then the next week they're in Qatar, then they're in Australia. It would go worldwide.
Yeah.
Ironically, it would have been a great opportunity for Abramovich to be able to go to a Chelsea game again.
Yeah, I mean, you'd end up with like Istanbul Arsenal. Yeah. It would be like London Chelsea. It would be teams situated in everywhere around the world, and it's because it's not. These owners, they don't want us to go to these games. That's the last thing they want, is us fans that will only buy a ticket and just go and watch the game. They don't want that because we'll go to a pub beforehand, have a few beers. We'll go to a pub afterhand, get some food, and have some more beers, right? We only buy the ticket when we go to games. They want these, sorry to say it, dickhead American families and people from also around the world that are going to go with 5 of them, pay £100 a pop for tickets, and get decked out like absolute wankers in all the gear from the gift shop. They're going to go spend all the money on food and stuff at half time with popcorn and hot dogs, all this shit. That's what they want. They don't want us to go to football. They hate the proper football fans. Why would they like them? We're not going to spend money. They want people to spend money. They want the new fan, and they don't want season ticket holders. They want a new fan in the same. They want a new fan in the same seat every game.
Yeah, 100%.
That's what they want. And I'm so happy, man. I'm just so happy they.
Yeah, man. That was inspiring as hell. That was sick.
I'm just so happy they overextended their hand and they fucked it massively.
What I would like to see is a new competition for where you actually see club teams play teams from other continents that is actually good, unlike the Club World Cup, because no one cares about the Club World Cup. It's short and it's boring on a stupid time every year.
It's slightly more interesting than a pre-season, like the Emirates Cup at the pre-season.
I would like to see Fluminense play against fucking Leipzig or
just something different. Do you know what I mean?
Like that, yeah.
This is the thing. It's not fair enough to the lower league teams who don't ever get the chance. Unlike obviously we're seeing West Ham having a good season, Leicester are now consistently up there, but it's all the other teams who just deal with being mid-table teams. Never being bad enough to be relegated and then coming back up, but never being able to get the good players, get a good ball rolling, to really make it up and get into other competitions and express their fans' wishes, to see their club in Europa or something. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. You're never going to see these clubs sign your Haalands, your Mbappes, because they just don't ever get the good competition. They can't pay the wages as well. And that's another thing that pisses me off with Haaland, trying to be the first player to earn $500,000 a week. Why do you need that money? Was it $1 million a week?
Yeah, well, I think, what was it? Neymar wanted $1 million a week for his latest contract, but they laughed at him. I think Haaland at the moment, is he's asking for €650,000 or something a week, which for a player of his talent it's fair enough. But you think he's very new on the scene still, and he could be decent for this year and maybe next year, but he could completely fall off, and he could be a couple of season wonder and not be
the Bojan effect.
If that's his salary now, the fuck is his salary going to be in 6-7 years time? Yeah, outrageous.
Too much for a club to handle.
And it's obviously going back to what you were saying about it just cancels out all the hopes of teams ever doing anything. It was like what Steve Harris said on Monday Night Football. He said, I've owned the football team. I now own the football team I've supported since I was 4 years old. Wow. He's like, as naive as I am, as naive as this may sound, I have dreams and hopes that we will one day play in Europe. What's the point of all of this if this ESL thing happens? That will never happen. It's that's what you want to see in football, isn't it?
That's part of being an attractive club is being able to play European football. You hear so often now, I want to go and play Champions League. I want to go do this. Like with Zaha, he wants to play in Europe. He wants to play in the Champions League. You see all these big names that clubs would realistically be able to get if they had European football, and it's about giving these smaller clubs the opportunity as well. But they would have had some sort of opportunity if the European Super League went through, but not on the right grounds.
I don't want Man United versus Real Madrid. I don't want every week, man.
The novelty would wear off very quickly.
Yeah, man. I don't want to see it. It's fun. It's way better watching Man United play West Brom and get beaten.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That's way better. Even if the game doesn't look that fun.
West Brom Chelsea.
And everything. It's just so much. Exactly, man.
One of the two good teams that were playing won.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, man, it's crazy. And I will say one thing. Over these last couple of days, I am now really looking. I've got off the Carabao Cup and the FA Cup for a couple of years now. Just haven't bothered with it. I'm so looking forward to watching them games now. I think it's sort of, I don't know if it's done it for everyone, but it's sort of reinvigorated games that weren't even that interesting to me.
Well,
the thought of them never happening again has made me want to watch them.
I think this is great for someone like Harry, who supports a championship team, obviously with that aspiration to come up. I've started to pay attention because I've been really annoyed lately with like the Premier League and everything happening, obviously with Super League now. Harry knows this. I started a career with Reading on FIFA, and just playing all those championship teams, I was like, these are good teams. Like, these aren't bad teams.
There's a lot of talent in the championship.
I'll be honest, Rob. I think the championship is probably the best footballing product in the world right now. Like, it really, like the level of football and the love for the game, everything like that is such a perfect, almost perfect balance. You don't have these rich assholes in that league. You have, you know, wholesome teams almost, if you know what I mean.
People who play football. That's the thing. Like.
Yeah,
once you
different team wins every year,
and the standard is good. Let's not get it twisted. The standard is very good.
Is it quite competitive as well?
Yeah, well, yeah, and
it's quite close.
Yeah, most years, yeah. I mean, Norwich has been by far the best team this year, but
you will have the odd team that's come down that will go straight back up again.
Scrappy. It's scrappy, yeah.
It doesn't always happen. You see Sunderland got relegated, you know, back-to-back years. Do you know what I mean? Your Portsmouth, Leeds, all Nottingham Forest. All of these teams it's happened, man. Could be an Arsenal next. Could be a Spurs.
Well, that's the thing. If they were to do something like that, like I sort of mentioned in previously, if they were to relegate all of these top 6 teams down to the lowest league possible, and they just have to work their way up, that would be really entertaining. But it would also be really fucking boring, because like, are these teams going to keep their players? If they're not going to be earning as much, or the teams aren't going to be earning as much, they're not going to be playing the players as much, and they're not. Are these players going to want to stick it out for 4 or 5 years, however long it takes to get back up the chain again? And if there's 6 of these teams, obviously not all 6 can be promoted every season, so it's just gonna. It will be entertaining, but at the same time, it's also, if these teams do keep a lot of their good players, then all these other teams around them are going to have not a chance in hell of winning. Obviously,
but they would be prepared for that, and they'd take the income and the revenue that the league would generate.
Oh yeah, definitely.
These people watching those games.
I mean, that says everything, doesn't it?
Merchandise coming to that league that gets shared out between the clubs. Like, the best example for that hypothetical situation is what happened to Rangers 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Where they did have a lot of players who stuck with them. It took them about longer than it should have done to get back into the Premier League.
It's probably about
2 or 3 years in the Championship.
Juventus had it.
But yeah, in that time you got to see a new Rangers. The fans stuck with them, and Celtic ended up dominating. But I mean, in the Premier League, it'll probably be a bit more of a battle.
This is the thing. Obviously, we had Juventus got banned for their cheating scandal. Well, they got dropped down the leagues. You know, you had Buffon stayed with them. I think Del Piero stayed. Like, these players, you know, if they really love the clubs, they'll stay, man. They will. Obviously, I don't know what the situation at Arsenal is like. You know, what will happen? It'll be difficult. We don't. I mean, any of these clubs, we don't know.
I imagine Rashford would stay.
Rashford stay. There's a few players that I imagine would stay.
Yeah, there's a few from each team, I think, that will, but I think there's going to be a lot that won't.
Oh, there's a lot that won't. Yeah.
You're not going to keep players like, say Kevin De Bruyne, for instance, or whoever it may be. You're not going to keep some of these massive players, some of the best players in the world, just because they're like, oh no, you know, I will stick with you guys. They're going to want to be playing top level football, and they're not going to want to be obviously relegated all the way down. And then, like you say, there are going to be the passionate players, the players like the Buffons that have been at their respective clubs for years and years and years. But there's a hell of a lot of players that have only recently joined in the last couple of years that won't have that same passion. So, in all honesty, at this point with Arsenal, I'm all up for us being relegated. Why not? I think it's going to make it'll probably make the mental health of a lot of Arsenal fans increase significantly.
You gotta get a couple of promotions. That's always fun.
Exactly. We'll be winning more games. We could get promoted. Hopefully, that will get rid of Stan Kroenke as well. At this point, I'm willing to try anything, and I think it would be a bit more entertaining for us, and we would hopefully stop having people take the piss out of us as much. But
I don't know if that would ever stop.
It could be even.
Although it might,
because you'll still have fans
breaking our championship points record.
The thing is with Arsenal, you've got those vocal fans that will still think that they're a big team even if they're in League Two. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's just what's going to happen, isn't it? But I don't think that should happen. I just think the 30-point points deduction at the beginning of next season, let's see what they're made of. Let's see what these teams are actually made of. Let's get scrappy and see if they can stay up, then we've forgiven.
Well,
not forget, because
I genuinely think it would be the most exciting Premier League season of all time.
Well, speaking of scrappy, Hendry said it was funny that the CEO of Palace said their chances of playing in Europe is a dream. Sounds like he's not confident it will ever happen. Lol.
I mean, we are, not very.
Why would he be when there's so many things in place to keep the good teams?
That's it, and
carry on being the good team.
That's it.
That is the problem we are addressing, Hendry. Is teams like Palace have a dream to want to be in, Europe and stuff like that. But
I don't know if you know that. I don't know. Sorry, Hendry, just quickly, mate. I don't know if you know how football works, right? But there are big teams. There are like middle part teams that are a little bit smaller, man, that are still in the Premier League, top of the Championship. You have the smaller teams. You have your Lutons, all these kind. Then you have grassroots football. This is like amateur, schoolboy level. You know how people get introduced into the game. So that's how it works. There's levels. There's tiers to clubs.
See what you've done.
There's tiers to clubs. I don't know if you know that's how it works. Anyway, where were we, Mark? Sorry, mate. Had to be said.
But different teams will have different objectives. Like Sheffield haven't started this season thinking, right, we're really going to push, we're going to win the league this year. If it gets to partway through, like the first quarter of the season, they're doing quite well. They might think, yes, we could potentially win, but from the offset, they're not going out there to win the Premier League because realistically, they don't have any chance to do that. Yeah. And each team has different expectations for that club and in that respective season. Next year, it could be to win the Premier League, but it could also be to do something else. Like who knows? And with Palace as well, they're not expected to get into Europe, and it's not something that's going to happen just miraculously. It's going to take time, and it's a long process.
And we've had consistent growth. We were in 2010. We were in liquidation. We were about to be buried. We were about to not exist. And then a fan-driven consortium of business owners bought the team, including Steve Parish. And in 4 years, we were in the Premier League, and we've been in the Premier League ever since. We now have a Category 1 academy, which are under 18s, are currently top of the Premier League South, and our under 23s are fourth in the Premier League. So, things are going pretty well. Arsenal haven't beaten us in 2 seasons. So I don't know, Hendry. That's the thing. I have got slightly triggered there a little bit.
I hope that answers the question, Hendry.
Yeah, sorry, mate.
Well, he did follow up. He did follow up with he said Alfie, and then they put the fishing emoji before I read it out. So you've done him well. You've delivered.
Yeah, Hendry. So that's how football works. But yeah, no, it is interesting. I don't even know what we were talking about before I went on that.
Well,
each team's expectations.
Yeah. It's all different for everyone, isn't it? That's just how it works. It would be cool to see them. Yeah, those teams start with like minus 30 points would be fucking hilarious. Best
what have you got here, Mark?
Let me switch it up quickly. I thought we could have a look at that 50+1 rule, where I think that has now sort of come into fruition, or a lot of people are paying a lot more attention to that. So obviously, I think you guys probably know a bit more than I do, because I didn't really know about this until obviously recent few days. It says here, the 51 rule guards against this. In short, it means that clubs, and by extension the fans, hold a majority of their own voting rights. Under German Football League DFL rules, football clubs will not be allowed to play in the Bundesliga if commercial investors have more than 49% stake. And whilst I was reading that, we got a follow.
Woo! Mo Farah sign.
Was that you, Alfie? Because it's from Alfie1306D.
It's not, but what a legend.
Whoever that was, say hi in the chat. Let us know.
Biggest fan.
Someone called Alfie, so... Welcome. Thanks for the follow. Thank
you, mate. Thank you.
In essence, this means that private investors cannot take over clubs and potentially push through measures that prioritise profit over wishes of supporters. The ruling simultaneously protects against reckless owners and safeguards the democratic custom of German clubs. I thought it said domestic.
Nice.
I think that's very topical. I don't know about you guys.
That's why Dortmund and Bayern aren't in this thing. It's cool. I think it'd be a really good idea. I don't know how it works implementing it, and because obviously you have these, the Glazers and people like this involved and owning the teams. So I don't know how it would work, but I think it's a great idea. I don't see, either that or get like people, keeping checks and balances of these, a body that's outside of football and that kind of thing, keeping a check on things. Whichever, I think the fan thing, it would definitely be cool because then it just feels like we're more football, innit? I guess. I don't know.
Football's in control of the fan. The fans are in control of the team essentially. It's not like one fan could suddenly turn around and take the piss and say, "I'm actually going to have a free season ticket," because that's not how it works. It's more to do with. Then
it's actually living up to the name football club. Like it's actually a club that you are part of, rather than something you go to, pay a bit of money, enjoy every once in a while.
Would you buy
it's not content at that point. It's not content when you. It's just like Netflix, but you're there. Is basically how I think some of these Americans see it. It's an entertainment. It's not WWE. It's not all of this stuff.
I think because of their very recent history, like America, they're still a fairly young country, all things considering, and a lot of what they do is driven by money, and it's to make money, it's to grow a business, it's to be a corporation. Whereas obviously with football, it's been a thing for so many years that there's a lot of tradition behind it. There's so much history behind it. Americans don't have that same history that, like, say, English and a lot of Europe have, especially when it comes to the sort of these sort of sports and their teams. There's a lot of passion that goes behind like a supporter of a football club, and you see even just by, if you compare going to an NFL game or even an MLS game to a Premier League game, you got all these players like in the Premier League, all these supporters standing up, screaming, singing together, shouting, all having being very, very passionate. But when you're over in America, if you're screaming and having a good time, you get kicked out of the stadium, because that's not what it's there for. They're there to be
Watch.
You're there. You can watch and you can have fun, but don't have too much fun, because otherwise we're gonna have to kick you out. Because that's not how we work here. There's a lot of passion when it comes to the Premier League, and there's those times where you're deep into YouTube and you don't know why you're on that video, but you're on that video. And I fell into that hole the other day, and I was watching an American guy react to some of the best English Premier League chants, and he said it's crazy how passionate that they are, and obviously a lot of them are quite sort of insulting as well and stuff like that. And they say if you ever even dreamt of anything like that over at the MLS or NFL, NBA, whatever association it is, then you'll instantly be kicked out. That's not acceptable over there. But for England, it's what our passion is. And
I don't know.
Someone's got to let the referee know.
Yeah,
exactly. If the referee's being a wanker, he's being a wanker. You've got to tell him.
Exactly.
That's the thing. Is it's just because those sports were brought up on two different values. The football's brought up on working class, right? And that's it. Whereas American football and the NBA and stuff were built as businesses. That's basically their primary function. That's what it is. To quote Troops from the other day, he was on a podcast that I listened to the other day, and he said the NBA is a business, the NFL is a business, but football is a sport. And that's literally what it is. You can't have this.
I think the origin of baseball is quite similar.
Yeah, but it's just I do agree with you, the passion thing. But I as a fan of NBA and NFL, there is passion in those sports for sure. They're just more on the collegiate level, which is kind of more similar to what we have football over here, where it's more community based. With the kids going to these colleges, they live in the community, whereas it's
more like your local team kind of thing.
Exactly, but not like the NFL. It's more the collegiate based system over there is basically more of what we have here.
If you're playing for your college in America compared to playing football for your uni team over here, the differences are huge.
Because
it's a right honour playing for your college, but playing for your uni team is a bit okay,
it's not a stepping stone to being professional here.
Exactly, yeah.
That's why.
No, you'd be to do it in front of like 20 people here.
Yeah.
And then you got like crowds of 70,000.
College stadiums are bigger than our Premier League stadiums.
Some of them, yeah.
And most of them, and they fill them out. It's crazy. So I think that's the thing is with America. I love the NBA and I love the NFL, but it's just not what I want for football. It just doesn't work. It's not the culture around the thing. Like the product of the NFL and the NBA is fantastic. It is exciting. It is but it's because it's always done that way, and that's how it works. It's just this isn't how football works. It's so much more. I don't know. I can't think of the word right now to describe it. But it's just better, so different.
There's heritage behind it. There's culture behind it. There's years and years of meaning, and like it means.
I mean, NFL's been around for 100 years. To be fair, but obviously it's not the same.
It's not the same.
But yeah, just down to the grassroots thing of it all, because it is the easiest sport to pick up and play. You just need your trainers. You need a ball. Just go and play. You know what I mean? You don't need anything else.
It's jumpers for goalposts.
Exactly. It speaks to the world, this sport, and I'm happy that we proved it. We proved that this is the sport of the people. It's not the sport of money, and that no matter I know it's in a place right now where people do spend 100 million pounds or whatever on transfers, but at the end of the day, it does seem that the people that love the sport truly still hold the core values of the people that did when they made the sport. And that's something that I think we can take away of. I think it's been a really good day for football and for everyone,
I think it's going to be a lot of change.
And it fell on 420. It's just a blessed day.
There's a couple of things about
it's a smart move, actually, trying to catch us all off guard.
FSG.
Trying to make sure none of us notice.
Let's do it on 420. No will fucking.
No one will know.
They'll be too relaxed to bother us.
Yeah.
There's a couple of things about the Super League which didn't make sense at all. Like transferring the records and trophies from the Champions League over to the European Super League. So Real Madrid would have started the European Super League in its first ever season with 13 European Super League championships.
I think that again comes down to arrogance and ignorance at the same time somehow.
Being tin pot. Turns out the most tin pot teams are the biggest ones. Which is mad. Sorry. Only in their current form it can get better for sure. It's only your own.
But it's embarrassing. It's I've got to live as a Liverpool fan now with this happening, and
I feel kind of bad bantering you because and I do and I don't, but I feel kind of bad in the terms that it's not your fault and it's got nothing to do with you, but it's your team, and they've done it. So unfortunately, you're gonna get a little shrapnel. From the banter.
I'd rather be Liverpool than Tottenham though, because there has been some.
Henry's just said Southampton scored against Spurs.
Big Six.
To be fair, every Big Six club that has played in the last few days has not got. Well, it's got one or less points. Like Arsenal, we drew against Fulham. Liverpool, you drew a lot. Yeah, and then Chelsea last night drew. Southampton are currently 1-0 up against Spurs.
Danny Ings.
How super is this league if we can't beat some of these other teams?
Well, it's like the posts I saw earlier, the other day, where it was I want to watch the top teams play each other, and it was four of the, and it was they were all 0-0s.
Yeah.
Why would I want that? Just 0-0 games.
Well, Liverpool played Real Madrid in the second leg, and it was 0-0. Are these supposed to be the Big Six playing against each other? They just nullify each other.
First leg was bloody good though.
Yeah, first leg was mental.
I think some of the reactions from some of the other Premier League teams as well on their social medias were they were taking it seriously, but they also wanted to poke fun at it a bit because they knew how much of a thing it was. Like with Wolves, they changed their Twitter bio to say Premier League champions 2018 to 19 because they finished 7th behind the rest of the Big Six clubs that year. And if obviously we were basically going to be stripped from the whole records, then technically that means that they were Premier League champions that year.
The banter's brilliant, but it does drive home how much of a hold the top those top teams are crippling the Premier League.
And it's the same with a lot of other sports as well, in all honesty. With Formula One's one of the main ones. Before last year, no team had, other than Mercedes, Red Bull and Ferrari, had won a race since 2012. It had been 8 years since one of the other teams had won.
Oh my!
It was always one of those 3 teams.
Formula One is amazing, but it is the most unfair sport ever.
Yeah.
It's so unfair.
Lewis Hamilton's won more races in the hybrid area, which is 2012 onwards. No, not 2012, 2014 onwards, than Red Bull have as a team. And that's how dominant Mercedes are. And it's the same with a lot of other sports. Right. You don't really, until you take a step back and you see something like this happen, you don't realise how much of a hold these teams have on their respective leagues and how much they do dominate.
And it's not even like, it's like
take that hat off, dear glory seeker.
It's mad to think how we are talking about the dominator, because half these teams aren't even dominated, and they're still trying to make this European league, this Super League. Yeah. It's so funny, man.
But like Arsenal didn't come outside the top 4 for 20 plus years until obviously a couple of years ago. Like there's a lot of teams that have just been consistently at that top, and it is a massive breath of fresh air to see teams like Leicester coming through and actually consistently now sort of being in that top part of the table. But obviously West Ham are doing really well this season. Everton are always floating around that sort of area. They're never god awful, but they're never quite sort of in that top 6 sort of place. So it's just it's a breath of fresh air to see these other teams being able to do something. It can add another level of entertainment to it, I think.
I do think it can go the other way as well now. I do think you can see like a Leeds, what happened to Leeds, Nottingham Forest, Villa. I think this can happen still, man. I think it can happen. I think a team like Arsenal, I do think
the big teams.
Back on Arsenal, whatever, but it is the best example right now. They've got to be worried. They've got to be careful. They're the only most likely, because they are the worst performing team right now under an owner that doesn't really give a shit.
Under the top 6,
Exactly. So, yeah,
I mean, it's not even behind Tottenham and even Liverpool at the moment.
Yeah, of course. I mean, you're not even a top 6 team. You are, I guess, almost a middle of the pack team becoming now. I guess, obviously, it could step up, obviously, definitely. But yeah, it's just interesting to see. This is, it keeps the hope of football alive, and I'm just, fuck that ESL, man. Just covered with the whole thing. It would have been boring as hell. Would have been cool to see Palace like challenge for top 4 though.
Well, that's another thing that kind of
top 4 for nothing.
That's another thing that kind of bothers me. Like no offense to you, Alfie, I'd absolutely hate to be a Palace fan. Obviously, I'd be a fan, so it'd be different. But I'd hate to be a Palace fan, just wondering not how well we're going to do this season, but the least amount of games that we'll lose. Like, what's the most amount of points we're going to get this season? Like, how high can we get? Like, how far away from relegation can we get? As a Liverpool fan, I don't even worry about the relegation. I don't even think about getting the points to be safe. Like, doesn't cross my mind. Obviously, I remember you saying, well, a month and a half, maybe 2 months ago, saying, oh, now mathematically Palace are safe from relegation. I was like, I don't even think about those things, because I know if there's a problem, well, I don't even think there'll ever be a problem for that's Liverpool.
Not always been the case with Liverpool, though. I mean, your old owners before John Henry and FSG bought them ran your club into the ground, and you could have been one team that got relegated. Yeah. So it's not always been the case.
It's not always been the case. I mean, in the recent 5 years, where Liverpool have progressed, more money's come in. We've spent a lot of money. I think we're one of the clubs to spend the first $1 billion without actually winning the Premier League, which says a lot about how much money comes into the club just to win.
You do think about people people talk about how great their clubs are, but it is because they spend money.
Yeah.
And it's because they've been bought away. But it's not you might have a good football team, fair enough, but you have also spent £1 billion fucking pounds, or you have spent 500 million. Do you know what I mean? Let's not get it twisted. It's because you have a wealthy owner that you're a good team. That's why football teams are good, because they have wealthy owners that are willing to put money in. That's it at the end of the day. That's why Man City are good. That's why Man United are good. That's why Liverpool are good. That's literally what it is. It's not down to anything else apart from the fact that really
Chelsea spent 250 million.
It's just Chelsea. Sorry, that is the biggest example of the whole thing. Chelsea, this is it. It's no one ever only talk about the money in a negative light, to be like, oh, but you're only good. That no one. It doesn't feel like a lot of people will praise the fact that they've spent money as a way. They will sooner go, oh, we're just a really good team. We play really nice football. Yeah, or is it that you spent $1 billion on players?
If you spend $1 billion on players and you don't do anything, then you deserve to be slated for it. But if you spend $1 billion and you win a hell of a lot, then fair enough. You've done sort of what you've set out to do. Essentially, you can't penalise a team or talk down on a team for spending money to make their team better.
That's it.
You have to spend money to make money. At the end of the day, obviously, I know football, it shouldn't always be about money, but they are businesses. And people do obviously want to make these teams do want to make a profit at the end of the day, but yeah, you need to spend money to make money. You need to spend money to bring all of these players in to be able to win things, to be able to bring that money back into the club again. And it's a constant cycle. But a lot of teams, obviously, they do get a lot of stick for spending money, but then again, obviously, if you don't spend money, you don't really get anywhere. And Leicester are one of those teams that did get somewhere without having a load of money spent. Obviously, they brought in some good players for not very much money at all, and they took it by both hands and they dominated and they won the league that year. It proves you don't necessarily need money, but it's definitely a massive helping hand.
You definitely but that's only happened once ever, so you do need money. Do you know what I mean? It's literally happened once, and that's the only time it's really ever happened, I guess. But it's a funny one, because obviously you were saying, Mark, like you'd hate to be a Palace fan, but it's because I guess it's just where your expectations are, isn't it? Because obviously I've grown up with Palace, being a Palace fan. My first Palace game, I was 18 months old. Shouldn't have gone probably, but and I've grown up in the community. My dad's a Palace fan, big Palace fan. Like I've got family of Palace fans. And it just, it's just that's all. And I've never been more proud to be a Palace fan than these last 48 hours. To not be do you know what I mean? To not have
one of those tyrants.
To not be my club that's one of these tyrants that don't actually give a shit about me. Do you know what I mean? Because that's what they proved over these last 48 hours, is the owners of these big clubs don't give a shit about their fans. They can fall back on it now and say that they do, and say that, it never would have gone through without the fans' approval. Yeah, fuck off. All right, it definitely fucking would have. All right, but that's the thing. I've never been happier to be a Palace fan right now. I have pride in my football team, what they've done. Do you know what I mean? Admittedly, I don't know if we were a big team and the opportunity came to us. I don't know if our owners would have taken it. I don't know, but luckily I don't have to think about that situation because it wasn't that. Do you know what I mean? That's not how it was.
Hendry's also commented saying Andy Carroll signed for Liverpool for a fee of 35 million. Mm-hmm. Also signed with Luis Suarez.
Yeah.
I mean, Suarez was the turning point for Liverpool.
Yeah.
And then
Coutinho, on the pitch and off it, like when
Coutinho was like the extension of that afterwards, wasn't it?
The money from Coutinho was a big impact.
That's it. It's all about, it's what it's all about. It's managing it. I don't know if it will. I think everything will go back to normal, but maybe it will stop the viciousness between fans in the league, because there is that, isn't there? I know we're all friends and stuff, but when you go on Twitter and stuff, you see the shit on Twitter, it's fucking horrible. Obviously, it probably won't change. It'll just go back to normal.
The worst, man.
Well, the social media is a very toxic.
It's mental how you can be so harshly judged because of the football team you support.
You could literally put a post up saying I support Arsenal, and someone would comment on it saying die. That is honestly how
calling you a paedophile.
Yeah, exactly. That is how honestly brutal it is. It's ridiculous. Like, as I say, social media is a very toxic place as it is anyway. Let alone bringing opinions which people might think are controversial or whatever it is. As someone who doesn't agree with your opinion, that's all it takes for them to just completely rain down on you like a thousand bricks. It's ridiculous.
That's it, man. And it's just it's one of them things I get. I don't really know. It's I don't think anything's going to change. I think it'll go straight back to what it is. I'll be bantering Brighton fans on Twitter tomorrow, probably later on today if they lose to. Oh, do they play today?
Well, Brighton played last night.
Oh, they played last night. What happened? I forgot what happened.
Chelsea. They drew 0-0.
Oh, they drew 0-0. Yeah. So I'll be bantering Brighton fans tomorrow then, or wherever. But we'll go back to that.
Good point for Chelsea. Good point.
It'll just go back to that.
We were talking the other day about. I sent the guys a picture of a Liverpool fan burning a shirt outside Edmonton Road.
Where?
We had a bit of a laugh about that because quite ironic that the guy holding the shirt was also wearing a Liverpool shirt. But
he picked a terrible shirt.
Yeah, it was like the sort of like bluey green one.
Wasn't even a red one.
Oh yeah, and he's not wearing a red one either. He's wearing one.
If he really cared, he'd have burned a red one.
Yeah, I know. But we were trying to convince Mark to burn some sort of Liverpool thing as well. But no, unfortunately, he wouldn't do it.
Not full of enough Peroni.
Mark loves Super League confirmed.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's it.
Anyway,
comment below.
I was thinking we could wind down the heated discussion with a bit of tier listing.
I've got to jump off in like about 10 minutes. So get ready for the call,
we can do a tier list to
keep going though. If you guys keep going.
No, that's fine. We are over an hour. We're nearly an hour and a half. So if we do a tier list, we'll be at our perfect timing.
Nice.
So let me get a little tier list.
Yeah,
what ones did we?
Let me have a look. I'm just looking on which one could we do.
We did.
We could do the.
You asked a few up, didn't you, Alf? Or you had to look at a couple before?
Oh yeah, but I couldn't find anyone that we like ones for future because they were like, yeah, don't worry. We have a couple in here that we could do. We could do Did we do managers?
We did. I think we've got transfers list and Premier League balls. We could probably.
Oh, well, why don't we start with the transfer list? Give that a go.
So let's do the old shifteroo.
Castagna on it.
Oh.
Huh?
There's Castagna on this list.
Oh god.
Oh yeah, he's elite, isn't he?
So I need
a
to.
separate tier for him.
No, they've got the tiers the other way around on this one.
Yeah.
That's alright. I need to quickly do some small edits.
Anyone in the chat saying anything? Not really.
No, Hendry's been quite vocal, which is nice.
I can wear my badge with pride, Hendry. You're right. I can.
Anyone got any questions for us about the Super League?
Or anything.
Or anything else?
Or anything. Yeah.
Any off the cuff questions may not be related to the Super League. Could be literally anything if you want.
May not be related to football. Who knows?
Jose's next move. What do we think?
Palace.
Away from the Prem.
It's got to be Palace, isn't it?
We had Harris went to Brighton.
Oh. If he goes to Brighton, I'll happily take fucking what's his face.
Because they can carry on living in London and manage Brighton.
Yeah, if he goes to Brighton, I'll take Graham Potter 100%.
We'll take Glenn Murray back.
I don't really mind. Glenn Murray, I don't have it. I just don't feel any sort of disdain towards Glenn Murray at all.
I think he's just been so good for both clubs. It's just like, yeah, fair play.
And it does really help that he had his best season at Palace.
Yeah.
Like that 35 goal season was good times.
So I'm just looking at some of these. I don't recognise some of these players. Like, who's that first one? Who's this?
That's Vinicius Jr., isn't it? From Spurs.
Yeah, the one he got a hat-trick against Marine.
Yeah, Vinicius. He hasn't been that great, to be fair. He's done that, but I don't know much else about him. I'd probably say, can you zoom in a little bit on your screen?
I can.
I wouldn't say a hat-trick against Marine is
It's
worth anything on this tier list.
He's not really done anything.
It's worth no value.
Yeah, just no. Yeah, just
dead.
Yeah, he hasn't really done anything. Really.
Dead is an option.
Yeah, especially when Harry Kane is starting ahead of him every fucking week.
We have
Gareth Bale.
Average.
Poor.
Average.
Poor. No, mate, poor, 100%.
He's had moments.
I was gonna say he's had moments, and it was probably there for motivation. Like Bale's back.
There's obviously a reason
nostalgic.
he wasn't in the starting lineup every time.
Yeah, I'd say average. We can move it around when we see what other average players we have in there, because he hasn't been that great at all.
Alright, who's this?
That's Alex Tellers.
Tellers.
Yeah.
Alex
I
Tellers.
didn't get to really see him do anything.
Well, Luke Shaw is the left back at the moment,
Yeah.
so I think that tells a story, doesn't it? Paul.
Chelsea.
Is that Chilwell? Is that
Chilwell.
yeah.
I'd say well played. Oh no.
I don't know.
He's not.
The thing is, I said he weren't starting. Now he's fucking starting again.
Well, shall we put him in played well,
I think played well, yeah.
and then we'll come
see.
back to him. Jota. He's had injuries. But mate,
Exactly.
I'd say killing it.
That's why he's not there, mate.
Donny van der Beek's signing of the season. That's just.
It should be dead, but it's not his fault.
No, not at all. But as a signing goes,
it's dead. It's a dead signing. It's not done anything. Cavani, he's killing it, bro. He's killing it.
To be fair.
Mendy.
I think he's played well. I don't think he's killed it.
Yeah.
He didn't play last game.
What's that? Cancelo.
Is that?
Cancelo, he's killing it. He could be
again.
Oh, yeah, he's killing it. Is
it Cancelo or is it Diaz?
That's what I was thinking.
Diaz?
It's been there.
Oh, that's Diaz. That's Diaz. That's signing of the season, mate.
Yeah, I thought it was
He's
Diaz.
revolutionised that back line.
Oh, no, Cancelo. Oh, is this Cancelo here?
Yeah.
Who's that? Who the fuck is that?
Højbjerg?
Oh, is that Højbjerg?
Average.
I think it is Højbjerg.
I think he's put in he does put in a shift. Like,
I think he's played well.
I think played well, yeah.
I think he's played well.
Oh,
He's a very good player.
Ollie, you think played well as well?
Yeah. But he's I don't know. You've got to take what Ollie says about Spurs.
No, I just yeah.
Are we putting him in the same bracket as Mendy and Chilwell?
Yeah.
Cool.
I think so, yeah.
We can move it around.
Yeah. All right. Who we got here?
Gabriel. I'd say he's played well.
He had a great first game against Fulham.
Yeah, I'd say apart from that,
I haven't thought about him since then.
He's had a red card. I know he scored a couple goals.
I don't know. He's definitely
average. I'd go average.
If you think about it, our defense hasn't been the issue this year. It's been our midfield, and it's been our like.
I don't know. The defense has had some real shaky moments this season.
Yeah, but if you compare our defense this year to last year, he's a lot better than it was.
It doesn't mean it's not bad.
Yeah, but it's a lot better than it was. So that's to say that the one defender.
It's that could be average.
I'd say he played well. But he's played a lot better than bloody Gareth Bale has. I hate Gareth Bale.
Yeah. So who's his next Tottenham player?
Sorry, oh God, who have we got here?
Is it Reguilon?
Yeah. I'd probably say he's played well. Reguilon.
Yeah,
I think he's a very decent player. Yeah. He's way better than fucking Ben Davies or whatever they had playing there.
Right, Thiago Silva.
Well, he's also been a big part of the thing, but then he's had injuries and stuff like that.
Should we? I'm happy to leave him in played well.
I feel like he's been better than them players and played well though.
We could move him up here.
Yeah, that's cool.
Fair
I don't know. That's a tough one.
You guys, obviously.
Yeah, I've not really paid much attention to him this year. Really, he's been
under
the radar.
He's come in and just commanded that back line though, and been a good captain for them. It's just unfortunately he's had a red card and he's had injuries, so I don't know.
I think as a signing, I think he's been a great signing, but he's not set the world on fire on the pitch. I mean, he's done well. I think played well for me.
Yeah. Has Thiago ever been someone that's lit the pitch on fire? Do you know what I mean? He seems to be just a very regimented, serviceable centre back. Do you know what I mean?
I mean, Michael Richards burst onto the scene.
That's true.
No, that's a fair point. To be fair,
I think we leave it like who's that? That's obviously Ziyech, isn't it?
Ziyech, yeah.
Well, I'm really tempted to put him in Paul.
Yeah.
He ain't done fuck all.
Wow.
But he ain't done nothing. Cancelo, he's probably up there with one of the signing of the seasons or killing it. He's been fantastic. I say, has he been long? He's been there longer than a year, is he not?
That's what I thought.
I don't know.
I can't remember. I'll put killing it, I guess.
Yeah, he's doing well in that back line. Let's be honest.
He's been incredible. Oh, it makes me. I don't know. Havertz. He's only just starting to play well.
Should we pop him in average?
No, I think he should probably be.
I think that last one's Ferran Torres.
Oh, Ferran Torres.
Oh, this one.
No, the City player, mate.
Yeah.
I'd put him down to played well then. He's not been like some crazy guy. Havertz has been poor apart from like right now, like the last like 3 games.
There must be a reason because he hasn't really been injured, so there must be a reason why he's not being put in that first team.
Well, he's been playing well since Tuchel came in, really.
Yeah. But
maybe average.
Yeah, maybe you could bang him an average, I guess. Right. Frank's system wasn't playing in a good position. Frank's system.
Nathan
I forgot City signed Ake.
So dead because he hasn't done anything.
Yeah, I mean,
he's coming up against these other City defenders. He's not getting in the team, which is unfortunate for him.
That's mad.
The only ex-Reading player on the list.
Oh no. Who's this next geezer?
Who is this, Don?
Can't remember. His pictures are so
small. This is definitely Højbjerg.
That's Højbjerg. Who's the other guy? Go. Wait, scroll in, mate. Keep scrolling in. When you see that other player was.
Oh god. Oh god.
Oh no.
What has happened here, Mark? Keep going down.
Scroll out. No, okay, hold on. Who's that guy? Up. Yeah, who's that guy? Are there two Højbjergs?
Is that Ben Davies?
No, that's bloody Doherty.
Oh my god.
Yeah, he's not been very good. We can bump him down.
Who's that then?
No, not that one. That one. He might have even been poor.
That's that Regulion guy.
So we can whack Højbjerg and played well.
We can whack Højbjerg and played well. I think you can put Doherty to poor.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thiago.
Where'd you put before we say anything, Mark? Where would you put him?
Played well.
I put him in average.
No, I've put him in dead.
So I think he
signing of the season, mate. Signing of the season.
I reckon he is a great player, and there has been moments, but I just think
he is one, but he's not been playing.
But he's not played well, is what you're about to say.
I think he's played well. I think he has played well, but he's obviously.
He's not played well considering him last season or any season.
You know what? I'm not going to get away. I've already got one in killing it, so.
I don't.
Yeah, you're lucky he's in average. I'd say poor.
A lot and played well.
I think he's been average. I would think that's fine. Average is fine. Is that Party?
Yeah.
Oh, I think he's been poor.
Again, injury
he
problems.
He had a good first game, but it's not his problem. It's Arsenal, man. It's just the Arsenal thing.
Yeah,
I think poor too.
I think he still is a good player, and it's just because he was spoke about when he was coming to Arsenal to now is like the drop off is mental.
Every player that Arsenal's ever signed.
Yes.
Yeah, that's true.
It's meant to be unbelievable.
That's true.
It's not nice getting shot down like that, is it, Ollie? Just
Willian. Oh, gee.
Willian.
I like Willian, but I think he's got to go dead cat.
Yeah, I like it, but I'm not. I don't know about dead. I'll maybe say because he's got a
maybe because he was on a free. Maybe.
But also the fact that he has taken Martinelli's minutes.
Martinelli's been injured a lot. He's come back from quite a lengthy.
Even having Willian starting at all is just disgusting.
I'd say back end of poor.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
All right, Werner.
I think he's.
Oh god, I think he's played well. Genuinely, I think he's played well.
I agree with that.
Well, for the situation he's been in.
He's just missing his finishing.
He's also had the most goal contributions for Chelsea this season.
It's true.
So I think he's actually
contributions, least goals.
I think he's played well. He's just not.
Exactly. That shows just how many goals he must have contributed to.
Yeah, exactly.
Providing the finishes.
Good. Yeah, I
think how many it'd be if he had been tucking his shots away.
I'm comparing a lot of these players to their like previous seasons as well.
I think he's been average, Timo.
Yeah.
Average.
Well, I don't know.
He was banging them in. Came to Chelsea, did fuck all. Like he shouldn't be getting goal contributions. He should be getting goals.
Yeah.
Well, the goal contributions lead to goals. So
I know, but he should be the one putting them in the back.
He's also playing on the left. On the left wing.
He was signed because he was banging in goals. He's not banging in goals.
He's got the most goal contributions for Chelsea.
That's not what I said, though, is it?
Okay, but
I think he was signed for his whole package. I think he offers
probably, but he's a striker. He's banging in goals. You've seen this.
What was that? What about Firmino?
Firmino, mate.
No, he wasn't signed this year. He's going off topic here, lads. I'm thinking average. Ollie's with me on average as well.
I think he's played well. He's played well.
Played well for me, yeah. Played well.
Most goal contributions for Chelsea who are currently in the Champions League semi-final and are probably going to finish in the top 4 of the Premier League.
We're not talking about the team, though, are we?
Champions League by Friday, anyway. PSG by default.
Well, yeah, not anymore.
Still.
Well, Chelsea are they're back in the thing, and so is City. UEFA have welcomed them back.
Yeah, I know, but they could potentially still be kicked out as punishment.
I don't think that'll happen. Well, yeah, actually, that could happen, to be fair. But,
what have we been saying about Werner all season? We've been saying he's not scoring, but he's playing
He's been playing well. That's literally everyone.
And there's a category called played well.
I haven't been saying that.
I've
been disappointed with Timo.
Because Thiago's in average.
And
Put
what?
Werner in played well.
He's the very bottom of played well, then.
I'm going to find evidence of you saying Timo Werner's been playing well. Because
Nice.
it's definitely out there.
It's definitely out there. It's definitely on a podcast one somewhere.
Probably.
We'll clip it up for next week. There's 2 Leicester players.
Oh, Castagna.
Yeah,
Castagna
and
signing of the season.
is that
And James.
Justin as well?
No, Wesley Fofana.
Apparently, Fofana's meant to be leaving at the end of the season.
Yeah, United won him, didn't they?
That was Justin.
I think it's James Justin. I think you're right. But I swear he came through the academy, James Justin.
That's what I thought.
Might be
No,
Fofana.
it is Fofana.
It is Fofana.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
definitely.
Castagna. I don't know too much. I don't really know what he's been doing. I haven't. Since he's gone quiet, the left back.
When he
position,
got
since Chilwell
signed,
played,
his
but-
first handful of games were really good, and then obviously as it's just progressed.
I haven't been watching enough of him, but I'd probably say he's been a good signing. That's not really one of them, is it? Played well.
Yeah, played well.
I think this is the same for Fofana as well. Fofana's been very good. Could even be killing it, really.
The entire Leicester team has been playing well
Yeah.
for a consistently long time. So, what are we thinking, Castagna then?
I think Castagna's played well. I definitely think he's played well.
Yeah, we all agree with that. I mean,
Fine with that, yeah.
Yeah, I mean they're doing really well as a team, aren't they? It's just hard to see who's not played well for them. Probably put Fofana maybe a bit above. I'll probably put him in killing it. No, bro, he's been fantastic.
joking, Jesus.
Oh, okay.
Fuck. Killing it.
Yeah, killing it. He's been really good. He came in.
Dead, mate.
Soyuncu, he got injured, didn't he? And he had to come and sort of step in, and he's been pretty good. So, yeah.
Nice.
Ruben Diaz, the only killing it.
He has though. Signing of the season.
He is the signing. I guess if we're gonna have just the signing of the season, I guess Ruben Diaz.
Yeah. Man.
Definitely.
Who else is it?
Who did we say was signing of the season in our signing of the season video?
I said Mendy because of the Kepa thing.
I think that was the one I didn't do an order on.
I don't think I was part of the podcast back then.
The dark days.
Good old days.
Oh.
Fuck you.
I don't know. I
The
can't remember.
podcast great again.
I think I chose Jota.
I expect so.
That makes sense.
It
That makes sense.
To be fair, he's definitely up there.
Yeah, he don't do too badly. Shame he had that injury.
Shame Eze's not on it.
True, that is a really good point.
This is only the top
6.
Yeah.
Car.
The ESL team.
And
Should have been
Arsenal.
ESL signing of the season.
Plus Leicester.
Plus Leicester, yeah. Well, actually, I guess the real ESL. Oh, no, I'm joking. Tottenham would be.
No, I put Eze killing it probably.
Oh, I'd say he played well.
Yeah.
He's been good, but he's playing out of position, and he has been a bit shaky at times. But he is,
He's
young.
young.
So it's fine.
Good promise. Yeah. Good.
Oh, definitely. I think he's going to be a great player, but see how it goes. But yeah, all right, I'm going to
Obviously, that team's not set up that well for creative players, so he's doing
Not
the best
at
he can.
Not
a
at
limited role.
Yeah, and it's difficult because we can't move Zaha for being a striker because he plays better as a striker than he does on the left at the moment. But the way we set up having 2 strikers doesn't allow for us to have an attacking midfielder. We need to have a left midfielder, and that's where Eze has to play, unfortunately. He's played well, like don't get me wrong, and he has a really nice link up with Zaha and Van Aanholt down that left side. It's just I wish he was playing a bit more in that middle of the park because when he has, we've seen him do some really sick stuff. So it'll be cool to see him do that in the future. I don't know, we'll see. Well, at least we are definitely gonna have a footballing future now.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're welcome.
It's going to be interesting. I think next season is going to be interesting. Just like the next sort of month of football is going to be interesting as well. With obviously fixtures still left on the calendar, and some competitions where some of the big six are sort of still in it. So it's going to be interesting to see how it all goes and plays out.
City can still do the treble, can't they?
Yeah.
They can do a treble.
Yeah.
Yeah, they can't do the treble, I guess. Yeah, because they're out the FA Cup, aren't they?
Yeah. Still win Carabao and Champions League.
Yeah, I'm actually. Yeah, thank God we're actually gonna have the Champions League for the rest of the year. Thank God for that. But,
something that we'll probably speak about next week is some of the changes to the Champions League going forward from 2024, I think it is, that they've just announced.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I need to look into that more. I haven't looked into that enough at the moment.
Yeah, that's why I sort of said maybe for next week.
Yeah.
But
definitely.
It's not good. It's not.
No,
good.
I was going to say there's
it's
a
not
lot of
good
people
at
that
all.
are quite pissed off, even on the back of this Super League thing. I think people think that they're just taking ideas that didn't work really for the Super League and trying to implement it into the Champions League.
I mean, yeah, that's literally it, isn't it?
But this Super League has positives positives have come out of it, of that we can change it quite easily.
Yeah, for sure. We proved that we have a voice. The fans have a voice, and it is a big fucking voice. So hopefully we can continue to make moves and make the sport better for everyone, not just the elite. You know, do the sport as it should be. Yeah, and Tottenham. Right, well, I'm gonna have to go, boys. So I've got another call to go on. But it was good chatting to you all. It was good seeing everyone. Are we finishing up now? Are you guys continuing?
I need to go as well. We've hit our sort of timing mark as well, so yeah, happy to sort of wrap it up.
I'll do a general wrap up then. Well, thanks everyone for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, follow, rate, love, send love hearts, hit the notification bell, anything that you can that shows support to us. We would massively appreciate it. Thank you. You can find us on YouTube, Twitch, Spotify, Apple Music. There's another podcasting thing that we use. I just have no idea what the name is.
No idea either.
I can't remember. But if you use that, if you use it and we haven't mentioned it, type our name in. We might pop up. But yeah, thanks everyone. Yeah, please make sure to. I don't know what we're doing next week. We're going to do our our future Ballon d'Or winners for next week. I think is what we were going to do this week, but obviously priorities had to come through.
Thanks for joining us, Hendry, as well.
Been watching live.
Thanks for the chat. But yeah, that's it. I think, guys. Thanks to the new follower, obviously, Alfie. What a don. And everyone that's been viewing. We've had another good set of viewers today, I think.
Yeah,
so,
it's been decent.
It's been good.
Good chat as well. I think there was a lot of. I think we've said sort of throughout the week that we have a lot to talk about this week, just because there's so much that happened in such a short space of time. I think it's been a very entertaining podcast from my standpoint, as well as hopefully from the viewer's standpoint. So
yeah, absolutely.
I thought it was awful.
Yeah.
really
pulled in the corner. Like, what can we talk about Reading?
I don't know. That's the last thing I want to talk about.
Love it. Right. Well, I'll see you later, guys.
Good.